All right, greetings and peace, everyone. Welcome to the C.R.S.A YouTube channel, Committed Relationships and Spiritual Activity, and I call it C.R.S.A for short because that's a long, a long name. I definitely realized that, but at the time of changing my name a few years ago, the name of this channel, it didn't dawn on me how long it was. I just knew that those are the two things that I wanted my channel to be about, and for a quick decision, I just went along with it. But anyways, my name is Neo, and what I'm about to do here is share some serious information with everyone here, and it's in particular single mothers, because this is information that I feel that everybody needs to know, in particular single mothers, and especially young single females who have not, I just say young single females anyways. This is what I do. I am a relationship researcher and also a personal development consultant. What I do is I study, I examine various aspects of various relationships. I have been doing it for many years now, and after years ago, after a relationship of mine, a relationship breakup, that was the moment where I realized that I did not know much about relationships, and I had to learn about relationships because for so many years, many people can go with little to no adequate knowledge of relationships, and that was when I realized that relationships are something that has to be learned for an individual. They have to learn it. We all have to learn relationships and how to exist within them. And throughout my years of studying a few books and analyzing relationships and learning about the mind, and overall completing my personal development journey, and still on my personal development journey, because personal development is a consistent thing. It's not just you do it for a few years like college and then you graduate and you get out. No, you continuously learn about life and yourself. Throughout my many years of studying relationships and examining them, and also examining my own family, because that was the very first experience that I started with, examining and studying my own family, because I'm able to be up close and personal. I have amassed a great amount of information, and that is what you can see throughout my previous videos here on my YouTube channel at the C.R.S.A, here at this C.R.S.A YouTube channel. I've shared, so I decided to transform my YouTube channel from a music YouTube channel to now a relationship sharing information channel here. So that's what I'm doing right now. So I share this information here in my website in a variety of other different ways. But now let's go on to talking about single mothers. My background comes from a single mother background. I was raised by my single mother, and my father officially left my life at the age of 16, when I was 16. And before that, he was in and out of my life, and there wasn't really any in-depth, mature teachings that I've received from him. The top major things that I can think of right now that I've learned from him is he taught me how to tie a tie, and he taught me that sometimes it's cheaper to keep her. And many of you know what that means. It's cheaper to keep her, but all I already know is it's cheaper. Throughout my years of experience and analysis of personal development, analysis of what it is to be a man and what it is to be a woman, I say it's much wiser to make sure that you have a highly developed, evolved mind first, and you understand relationships, you know how to behave within relationships, and you know how to choose the proper mate to be in, and you both consistently contribute positively to the relationship, then you won't have to worry about all of the other major dysfunctions that are common within relationships here in America and around the world, but in particular here in America. I have learned that largely the dysfunction that occurs within relationships is due to lack of proper parenting from that receiving from the child, from people, lack of proper parenting, and the lack of personal development that the person has to take on and complete. And also the lack of proper amount of relationship knowledge being received by the individual. Knowledge and the lack of knowledge of the mind, the overall lack of knowledge of self. Because me doing all of this myself, I realize, oh my God, it is definitely beneficial having all of this completed within an individual. So now I know how to properly choose a woman, and I can identify a good woman once she's within my perception. And a good woman is not a woman that's loud and obnoxious and easy to get angry, and who's extremely petty, who's selfish, where the only thing that she can offer is her good looks and sex. That's not a woman at all. So I know a mature woman when she's available. But anyways, now single mother. So this single mother, this video right here, I don't know how long it's going to be. I intend for this video to be a lecture type of video sharing all of the various knowledge that I have amassed. But I'm talking about small portions of the knowledge, because what I want to do within a good amount of videos from here, and I don't know how long, at least the next few months, I'm going to create a single mother campaign to where it's a variety of videos. I'm gonna start with videos and I'm gonna see how that goes, the type of response I get from that, so that I can share with you guys the information that I have received through my analysis and examination of single mothers, starting with the information that I've learned by going through the experience with my mother, studying my sisters, because all of my sisters, all three of them, are currently single mothers. Once I identified the formula of my older two sisters and what caused them to become a single mother, I knew that my younger sister was going to be a single mother. I knew that she was going to be a single mother, my youngest one, when she was, 13 or 14. I sensed it, and I knew that the moment that she's going to get a boyfriend, especially if she get a boyfriend within high school, that she was going to eventually be a single mother. And turns out, boom, here she is. She's by herself. She has her own home. She does have a job, a career. She has a career and she has a car. And now it's just her and my niece. And I said, boom, there it is. So I got the formula. I know how it works. And when I see it, there is a certain environment that a young female is raised in, a immature, non-nurturing environment that is consistently dysfunctional. She's more than, and especially if she does not have a father figure, a strong, mature father figure in her life, who is consistent with higher knowledge, who is consistently nurturing her in as many ways as possible, at least emotionally and psychologically, just nurturing her with that knowledge, a strong knowledge, and giving her the necessary attention so that she won't run out and seek it from another immature male, as a lot of females have done throughout their years. I see it now. Whenever that father figure is not there, at least a father figure of some sort is not there, it's largely that causes that causes a psychological deficiency that the individual naturally will try to fill, that void And this goes with men who lack strong, mature, maternal attention or maternal guidance throughout his life. And I was an example of that. Yes, I know both of my parents, and I've done the analysis. They are my biological parents, and it's obvious for me physically and also characteristically that they are my parents. But my mother was consistently at work trying to take care of us to bring in the money, and she was completely psychologically and emotionally unstable, and she had us young, too young. Also, she got involved with a relationship with my father too young and got married too young. And me understanding relationships now and have reached an adequate level of maturity, I can see that neither of them have reached adequate level of psychological maturity. And I say psychological maturity because there is a difference between psychological maturity and physical maturity, and I'll go into that later on. So this information is for anybody in particular, but in particular single mothers, current single mothers, and also women who are not mothers, and especially young single females. You have to understand, you have to receive this knowledge. So that's why I put together a little bit of notes here so that I can go through with this lecture. I'm gonna say lecture, so I don't know how long it is. So definitely, if you got to come back to this, then pause it and come back to it later. Or if you're watching it on YouTube, what you would have is, I want you to definitely make sure that you're logged in, because what YouTube has is they have a history page where whatever you viewed, it logs in onto your account. So you can always go back to your history and it'll leave. You can leave off exactly. You can go back to where you left off. So you more than likely, if you have a short attention span, then make sure that you go ahead and do that, and make sure that you are logged into your YouTube account. Okay, so now single mothers, I said this is about single mothers, but also I've learned throughout the years of studying what's going on that a woman can be with a man, and they can both be living together and have children, while at the same time still feel like a single mother. Here's how it can happen. There is a lot of mind control that it has been going on for years here in America. A lot of people have not identified where the mind control is coming from, but a large amount of it is coming from the media outlets, and I'll go into that more later on. And this mind control further delays maturity, and I talk about the delaying of maturity in a few of my videos of the past, and it is definitely true. So what's going on is a lot of people, they get involved with these committed relationships way before their time psychologically, when they have not reached psychological maturity. So it's like what society teaches maturity is they teach that material possessions and having a job or a career and having their own place to live, they have a car and they have money, they get people, and they pay bills, they get people to believe that is maturity. I'm going to say this again. That is only aspects of maturity that people have an option to involve themselves with. True maturity is psychological maturity. Psychological maturity is the understanding and having an adequate knowledge and understanding of life, spirituality, an understanding of your mind, understanding of how to keep your body in proper order, how to take care and overall take care of yourself, how to properly handle your relationships so that you can decrease, if not completely limit or keep out dysfunction. And if dysfunction is there, then you know how to properly deal with it. This is not the case with most people here in America. And I say here in America because I study people here in America. I have not visited any other country and to study and analyze other countries, which I'm open to considering that. But I'm saying here in America, there is so much dysfunction due to the lack of psychological maturity. And it is everywhere. It is in my family. It's with my parents, and it's with their parents, my grandparents. And the number one thing that people pass on to their children is psychological immaturity. They can pass on all the money that they want. They can pass on all of the material possessions that they want, and talk about this generational wealth that's been going on for years. People talking about generational wealth, and that's definitely good to set your children off with those material possessions. However, what is greatly most important is to pass on psychological maturity and spirituality first and foremost. Because if you pass on generational wealth all you want, you can have the best generational wealth all you want. If you pass that on, but you lack passing on psychological maturity, then and proper spirituality, understanding of spirituality, helping your children do that, then your children are more than likely going to be run amok, spending money left and right. And let's say even if you did teach them proper ways to handle their wealth, if they still lack psychological maturity, then they're going to lack proper handling of their relationships. That's why you see a lot of wealthy people who definitely have the wealth. They have the social prowess, even sexual prowess, but they are crappy when it comes to those relationships. I'm telling you, even these celebrities, you can see them in the news. They have all of the fame and fortune that a person can ask for or even need, but yet when it comes to those relationships, they're jumping after relationships after relationships. There's so much dysfunction. You hear them getting in all of these arguments with their friends, their families, going through divorces. This is due to lack of psychological maturity. That is the number one issue that a lot of people have, is they have not reached an adequate level of maturity. Me reaching that, I can see the difference. Me reaching an adequate level of maturity, I can see the difference. And I can tell who have reached even a decent amount of maturity psychologically versus the ones that are on a very, very low level. I can perceive it in their energy, their auric field that's around all of us. I could see it in their mannerisms. I can definitely hear it in their voice, their tone of voice, because believe it or not, a person's tone of voice can provide a lot of information, because our psychological conditioning is also conveyed within our voice. That is something I've came to the conclusion throughout my years of analyzing the mind and spirituality, that those two are hand in hand with each other. Our spiritual self, our spirituality goes hand in hand with our mind. If a person has a dysfunctional mind, then they're more than likely going to have dysfunction within their spirituality one way or another. And then they're going to have dysfunction within their body, because the way it goes spirituality first and foremost, then the mind, then the brain, and then the body. If a person addresses their physical body, their ailments first and foremost, without addressing the first two first, then yes, they'll be able to recover from whatever it is temporarily. But at some point, they're going to get right back to where they were with the dysfunctional body ailments, if not worse. Because the soul controls the mind, and the mind controls the brain, and the brain controls the body. This is all one. You're one being. You're one whole being. That's holistic thinking. That's the way to go about it holistically. So me as a personal development consultant and a relationship researcher, what I do is I assist people with their psychological reconditioning, because especially those individuals who went through a lot of dysfunction within their childhood and just overall their past experiences. Before I let people know, before you can go on and be highly successful in your career, in your relationships, in a variety of aspects of your life, and it be a smooth experience, you have to go through some form of deep psychological reconditioning so that you can get your mind, body, and spirit to a balanced, strong foundation. You always have to get yourself in a psychological, spiritual, and physical balance that is a strong balance and strong foundation before you can start building on anything else you want to build on. And a lot of people here in America, and which America teaches this, but a lot of people here in America think that, okay, because they have an idea of a career they want to be in, they have money and whatever else, that they can just jump into a career, or they can just jump into being an entrepreneur without adequately addressing their psychological issues, and without their personal development, without focusing on their personal development. And they think that, and the same thing with relationships, they think that, okay, I have my career in order, I have my own place, I have a car, and yada yada yada, this and the third, that they can just jump into a relationship, a committed relationship with someone, and just start dating. No, when you deal with me, I teach individuals that you have to first stop and address your psychological conditioning and identify what types of things that you need to be reconditioned. You have to go through a reconditioning of, because sometimes it's complete from top to bottom that some people have to go through, and sometimes it's just a new relationship mindset that they have to go through a reconditioning of that before they jump into a relationship. So that's what I deal with people throughout my consultations. And if you want more information with that, you can check out my website at transformationsubliminals.com. I more than likely will have an image that shows my website, web address, and it will definitely be in my description of this video. Okay, let's see here. So some of this information it does not reply to all single moms. I'm telling you this. Some single moms definitely have done their work. They've done their personal development work, and they are at an adequate, stable level psychologically and spiritually and physically. So it doesn't apply to all single moms. So definitely excuse some people are at the exception. Okay, got that. Let me see what else I have to say. And some single moms are more psychologically in other ways dysfunctional than others. So you gotta know that, and you gotta keep that in mind. And also, this video is not to bash single mothers at all. This information is to be uplifting information, to provide information so that current single moms and also non-single moms, non-moms, and anybody else to utilize this information to better themselves, to improve themselves, to enhance themselves. So I mentioned my background. So my background, I come from a single mom background. I am the third of 4 children of my parents. I have 2 older sisters and 1 younger sister, and I got tons of nieces and nephews. So I'm the only boy of the family. So I've been raised by females. And when I tell you that I definitely needed a personal development process to go through so that I can recondition my mind so that I can understand manhood I am serious about that, because I had to understand what it truly is to be a man, and I had to develop a strong alpha male mindset so that I can avoid being like a lot of males here in America, and that's weak beta males who allow women to just run over them. And as I said in one of my videos, which I haven't uploaded it yet, but it's a video titled Disrespectful Women, Why Women Disrespect Their Man. I go ahead and I go into detail explaining that it is the beta male mindset that a man has that encourages women to subliminally encourages them to have the destructive behavior to disrespect their man. Once a man becomes strong within his mind and he picks up the alpha male mindset, then his energy will change to a much dominant energy, and then he will command respect without even speaking to a woman, or without even speaking to other people in general. So that's that. And I did not have a father figure in my life who was a consistent father figure that would pass on positive, mature information to myself. And I didn't have a mother to do that for me. And that's why I say a man is definitely necessary for a young man to grow into a mature manhood. However, unless he wakes up like me and go through a spiritual awakening that made me realize like I need to take over my life. And I realized that actually after I moved out of my mother's house into my own apartment, that was the time for me to take over my life and my overall well-being. That was that. And then even when I went through my spiritual awakening, I realized that even more, and I took even more accountability for my own life and my overall psychological and spiritual well-being. But not everyone realizes that. They don't come to that realization, and they fall victim to what society says that adulthood is and maturity is. And like I said, they say that society gets people to believe that material possessions is maturity, and those are only aspects of maturity. So what I want to say is, from here on, you guys, I want you to go ahead, get a pen and a paper or whatever it is that you can write down notes. Pause this video if you have to. Write down these notes of this information if you have not already, because I got some more information as the causes of single motherhood. So here we go. So I wrote down 4 of the top major ones, and these are just small major ones that I've written down, and there's definitely other causes. And if you have any extra causes that I have not mentioned here, definitely go ahead and write them in the description, in the comment section, so that you can share them with other people and also with myself, because it might be something else that I have not learned or realized myself that you can actually provide in the comment section. So definitely go ahead and do that also. So I say here, the top major cause for single motherhood that influences a single mother, a woman to become a single mother, whether she intentionally does it or subliminally does it, because it is our subconscious mind that is in control of our behavior. That's why some people can say that they want to do something, but they haven't done it before, or they may have done it a few times, but they haven't been able to be consistent with it. If we want any form of consistency within our life, we have to address the beliefs that are within our subconscious mind. We have to go through a reconditioning of the subconscious mind if we want to be consistent within our behavior. So if a person wants to lose weight and they want to get in better physical shape, it is best that they first address their subconscious mind and go through a psychological reconditioning that will help them do that. Like, you can get a workout subliminal from me, and that workout subliminal will change your beliefs. And once you have those beliefs, which I call beliefs programs, once you have new programs fully installed within your subconscious mind, then you'll start to have new perceptions and new confidence within yourself, and you'll start to do new things, and it'll be consistent. Like, for example, I'm talking about working out. You get a workout subliminal from me, and within a month, I'll say within a month to 3 months, you'll start to see new perceptions. You'll have new confidences, and you'll know what to do, what's good for you and your body in general, and you start to work out more, and it'll be much more easier for you to work out because you have those new beliefs installed within your subconscious mind, rather than having to force yourself to go to the gym, to go out for a walk, to go out for a jog, and you don't really like it. No, you can change your beliefs to even having a new belief that you enjoy working out, you enjoy exercising. Once you have that new belief installed, you'll literally enjoy working out to the point where you'll be excited to get dressed and to go outside or wherever you decide to work out. So changing your beliefs is necessary. Okay. All right. So now I want to go ahead. So the number one reason from my analysis throughout my years of studying relationships, studying my family my family, and examining them, and me coming to my own psychological maturity and spiritual awakening, I've realized that the lack of proper, mature parenting from the parents, first and foremost, them being mature before they actually decided to have children, is the major cause for single motherhood, the major influence. And also it encourages. The other thing is, I'll go into the DNA aspect of it later on, because I don't want to get too deep yet. Okay, so the lack of proper, mature parenting. Now let me go ahead and let you know this. What's most important as far as relationships is an individual has to first have a strong relationship with themselves, where they can be 100% honest with themselves. They understand their weaknesses and their strengths, and they have an adequate knowledge of the mind, adequate knowledge of their spirituality, and even an adequate knowledge of their body. It's important to have body consciousness, understanding the signs of the body, where it tells you what it needs. It tells you its needs, and you feel out those needs, and the needs like water, proper exercise, minimum amount of exercise, proper amount of sleep, proper foods to eat. And even if you eat a lot of junk food, you at least have to have a lot of water, adequate amount of water to flush it out. That's what is going on with a lot of people. That's why they get sick, because they've been eating a lot of junk food, even a lot of junk meat, animal meat, without having adequate amount of water to flush that out. Because if you fail to consume adequate amounts of water, what will happen is that junk food that you eat, it'll sit in your body often, and it'll fester and create more and more germs within your body that are not beneficial for your body. Yes, you can drink juice, you can drink soda, and that will somewhat flush down the food, but having adequate amount of clean water. And you can do your own studying, and there's different waters out there, and I don't want to get into the silly argument of what water to drink, but for me, my body responds positively to distilled water. And I've done my own studying and going through my own experiences drinking distilled water, and distilled water works great for me. And because what distilled water is it's empty water to a certain extent. It doesn't have any kind of minerals in it, but that's actually great, because it's like a let me see here. it's like a suction cup, like a vacuum. Once you get into your body, once you get within your body, it'll suck up and remove all of the toxins within your body. And the more you drink, the more cleansing it'll provide you. And another thing that distilled water is, and because it does so much cleansing, our government here in America does not want people to know the benefits of distilled water. Because I got to tell you guys, our American society is designed to keep people on a low, immature psychological level, to keep people sick psychologically, physically, and spiritually dysfunctional. People who are on that kind of level are much more easily controlled. A strong, psychologically balanced, spiritually balanced, and physically balanced individual is much more difficult to control than a person who is on a low, immature level, who's psychologically and spiritually dysfunctional, and who is physically sick. And you can definitely see throughout your own experiences, if you have not experienced it. I mean, if you have experienced it already, or you can just look around here in America, you can see how easily controlled a lot of Americans are, and their discernment is on a very, very low level. And that's because of all of these other things. So once you have a strong relationship with yourself, and you've done you went through your own personal development process, your own journey, and you've completed a lot, and you raised yourself up, the next thing is to understand relationships, have a strong understanding of relationships, which psychological maturity comes into play. And you'll naturally just understand relationships in general, but still continuing to learn about relationships is a major thing. So then you'll understand how to choose a proper mate for yourself, rather than what society teaches us. Here in America, society teaches us to, as far as what is a proper mate: a person who has a job or a career, who's able to take care of themselves, they have their own money, yada, yada, yada. And sometimes they encourage good looks, of course. And naturally, we just naturally want to have a person that's good looking. And especially here, us men, we're more visual, in my opinion, than women. So we look at the visual. And me, I've been through my years of chasing beautiful women and being with beautiful women, and then it doesn't turn out great the way that I expected. And that was because I was primarily looking at the physique of a woman, rather than their psychological conditioning first and foremost, and what is their personality, what can they provide the relationship first and foremost. Now that I matured, I know the importance of identifying the woman's their psychological conditioning, and analyzing what they have available to offer, more than just good looks. And me doing my own personal development, I have a lot to offer a relationship. So I perceive myself as valuable. That's why I am selective now with my women, rather than just accepting a woman just because she's beautiful. And that is the subliminal that's been going on for years here in America. Is they've been getting us men to pursue women just for their beauty, and put them on a pedestal just because they're beautiful. But me analyzing a lot of beautiful women, I realized that there was a heck of a lot that they have to offer in a relationship, and that there are beautiful women who actually don't have much more to offer besides their beauty. And that's why they'll attract all of the wrong men, and the men end up just talking about their beauty, and they just want to have sex with them, and then they leave them in the dirt by themselves, and maybe by themselves with a child. And that's because that woman, those beautiful women, a lot of beautiful women have been conditioned to only focus on their beauty rather than their mind first and foremost, adding those new psychological characteristics that will benefit themselves and also relationships with other people. And that's why you'll see those beautiful women. They're beautiful as heck, but their communication is not that well. They overall don't know how to exist properly within relationships with other people. So that's the situation with that. So there's no mature parenting that the parent can pass on to, maturity that the parents can pass on to their children. So the children will lack maturity, and if they don't ever wake up, and if they consistently watch TV over and over again, they consistently surround themselves with the destructive things of our society here in America, or just society in general, then they're more than likely going to still be on a low maturity level. So that right there is going to be disruptive for an individual. So I'm gonna go back to what I was talking about earlier. So once they have chosen the proper mate, then the next thing is they have to get that relationship under control and have a strong foundation to build on. If they don't have that relationship in order before they have children, then even when they bring children, they got even more responsibility that they have to be responsible for, and then there's more stuff that they have to be conscious of, and it just creates more work. That's why I tell people you have to do it in this order. You have to get a relationship with yourself, start your personal development process, understand those top things that I said you have to understand. You have to understand your mind, spirituality, and have a body consciousness. So study proper health, understand how your body works, the proper needs of it, so that you can further reduce your chances of getting sick in your future. Because a sick person within a committed relationship further decreases the quality of the relationship, whether you want to admit it or not. You consistently being consistently in and out of the hospital, a person can't get out and go places where it's actually beneficial for the relationship. It just decreases the quality of it, and then it forces a lot of different things to function unnaturally. And the thing that I've learned, that whenever a couple defies nature in one way or another, a lot of times that creates dysfunction within the relationship. The more people defy their true nature as a male or female, there's more than likely going to be dysfunction within a relationship. And I'll see if I can go into that detail later on. Let's see here. Yep. And then so I covered the personal development part, the lack of personal development. So so that is actually number 2. So lack of parenting, number 1, proper mature parenting. And that further decreases the likelihood of the child being able to grow into a mature adult. That is the duty of parents. The duty of parents is, one of the top duties of parents is to help develop the child's mind into a mature adult mind, so that they can think independently of their parents and doing it in a mature, wise manner. That's why nowadays you see a lot of people running amok, regardless of their age, 20-year-old, 30-year-olds, 40-year-olds, and 50-year-olds, acting like children, acting like high schoolers, immature high schoolers. I'm going to say immature high schoolers because there are mature high schoolers. They're acting like immature high schoolers because they have not reached adequate level of maturity. They haven't started their personal development process. And that's exactly what I do as a personal development consultant. I help those people start their personal development process, and I help them along their personal development process, whether they started it or not. So you can definitely come to me for that with the starting with the consultation. So that's number 2, lack of personal development. They failed to take on the accountability, the responsibility of raising themselves up to a higher mature level, so they can be higher evolved and be prepared for life itself, let alone relationships. So that's why you see a lot of these people, especially these single women, choosing these no good, low quality men, having children with them. And let me tell you this, what I've learned: when people have children with these low quality people, whether it be male or female, there's a high chance that their children are going to be of a low psychological and even physical quality, a low quality. So if two individuals haven't raised themselves up spiritually, psychologically, and even physically, then they're more than likely going to pass on that low quality DNA to their children, and then their children's going to be sick psychologically and physically, and they're not going to be able to contribute to society positively. So they're more than likely going to be what society calls useless eaters, where they just consume, useless consumers. They just consistently consume food. They just want to eat all the time, sit around on their butts, looking at their smartphones and watching TV, playing video games, and that's pretty much it. Yes, they might have a job, but they don't have anything else to offer other people in relationships and society itself. So that they're just useless eaters. That's the reason why our society here in America especially are comfortable removing these individuals off the earth, because they're just a waste of space. So if you don't want your children to be like that, then make sure that you are wise, selective with the individuals you choose to have sexual relations with and also children with. Make sure you get high quality people, and I'm talking about high quality psychologically and spiritually first and foremost, more than high quality as far as money, career status, and social status. Because here in America, it teaches people that high quality people equates to a high social status, a high career status, and money. And those are only aspects that an individual can add to themselves if they want to, and they can consider that as high quality. But just having those things alone without a high quality psychological status and spirituality, that's a big no-no. That's not being holistic. And that's why you can see a lot of these celebrities, yes, they have the wealth, but look at their relationships, how they're going about their relationships. And there's a whole bunch of there's more single moms who are celebrities too. They fall victim to that single motherhood, and all of this information applies to them also too, and how they got to be a single mother. And I'm not going to go into any names, but how they got into single motherhood too. And there's so much to this that goes subliminally, that makes a woman going to be a single mother eventually. Okay, now it goes to the media outlets, the influences of media and societal influences. Okay, so the media outlets, a lot of people have realized by nowadays that the media has a lot of influence over a person's mind. That's one thing one major thing that I have learned throughout my years in my personal development journey, and also studying the mind. I realized that the TV, the movies, and certainly the songs, the music, has a major influence, both positively and also negatively. So it all depends on the person who is the provider of the particular program, the particular song, or whatever. Whoever is the provider of it, the creator of it, has the most control over an individual's mind. Because you have to understand this, and I'll briefly describe our subconscious mind. It is our subconscious mind that is responsible for our perception of people, places, and things, especially life. It's responsible for our thoughts and certainly our behavior. Our beliefs are the underlining factor that creates our perception, our thoughts, and our behavior within our life, and even the attraction of the people, places, and things that we attract to us. If we want to transform our life and our behavior, it is essential to first start off with our mind. You have to address your belief system, the structure of it, and all of the beliefs within it, if you want to transform your mind to whatever it is and you want new people, places, and things to come in. If you don't address your mind, your subconscious mind, that is, and change those beliefs, then you are going to continue to perceive and attract those same types of people, places, and things within your life and circumstances that you currently say that you do not like within your life. Or if you do like them, then you don't have to address those beliefs. But it's important to first, you have to identify what current beliefs you have first and foremost in order for you to change them to new positive beliefs that are actually benefiting you rather than being non-beneficial for you and causing dysfunction within your life. And our mind is responsible for all aspects of our life, whether it be love, relationships in general, social relationships, money, business, your home, whatever. It's definitely spirituality. So that is our central processing system that we have to be conscious of and know how to utilize it wisely. And that is the largest reason why people are having a dysfunctional life and dysfunctional behavior, is because they are completely unconscious of their mind and how it functions. That's one of the top reasons why, that is the top reason why I created my Neo-Oneness Subliminals service that is at transformationalsubliminals.com. And also I have a YouTube channel titled that, Neo-Oneness Subliminals, that people can go and get great personal development information and also information about the mind, especially the subconscious mind. So with the media, the way it works is the way our subconscious mind functions largely on images, and our world governments have been studying for years, especially the American government has been studying the subconscious mind, human nature, and behavior throughout many, many years, way beyond years people can even comprehend. So the world governments, especially here in America, they certainly know how to program people's minds with the TV shows, the movies, definitely the music, and even magazines. And they do it through imagery, and they have so many different ways that they can put a front in front of people as far as something that is the apparent, but it is what is going on behind the apparent, the forefront, what's going on in the background that people miss. And it is that background that is going through people's minds, their subconscious mind, and is programming it. So I can talk to you about the relationships. Let me tell you about a propaganda that has been going on for years. Is cheating, is infidelity within a committed relationship. We have been seeing that throughout movies, TV shows, and throughout songs over and over and over and over again. You see the man cheating on the woman, and sometimes you see the woman cheating on the man, but a lot of times you see more of the man cheating on the woman, and that is really, really disrespectful to us men. So us men especially should be furious about this, putting us in a negative light, especially us so-called African American men, because it is a lot of what's going on in our movies and a variety of situations, putting us in a negative light in general. But that's the reason why. And if a person is not conscious of this and they're unconscious of their mind, they would definitely be influenced to think that cheating is okay. And even if they don't think that cheating is okay, as far as consciously, subliminally, they'll be influenced to actually go ahead and commit a infidelity behavior. They'll take part in infidelity behavior in one way or another. This is why I feel that it is essential that an individual must reach an adequate level of maturity before jumping into a committed relationship with another individual, because the maturity allows you to perceive the do's and don'ts within a relationship, and the don'ts is also even perceiving the possibilities of how infidelity starts. And sometimes it starts with spending a lot of one-on-one time with whatever gender you are interested in, and some people might not be interested in a certain gender, and they somehow cross and mix. And I won't go into too much detail, but there's another propaganda as far as homosexuality. So that's how homosexuality, infidelity from heterosexual committed relationship, and then there's an infidelity as far as homosexual behavior between two individuals. So that's and that's how that can get started too, because of this homosexual propaganda that's going on throughout the media, TV shows, movies, definitely the songs and the magazines. So for you individuals who have known for years that you are a heterosexual and you always been with the opposite sex, but nowadays you starting to have homosexual thoughts and starting to perceive that other people of the same sex, you're starting to have sexual thoughts and feelings toward them, homosexuality, that is one of the top reasons why you're starting to have those new thoughts that are more into the homosexual realm, when you know good and well that for years you have been having feelings for the opposite sex rather than the same sex. I'm telling you, the TV and the movies have a large influence over an individual, over you, especially if you're unconscious of this and you don't know how to resist and protect yourself. That's why you got to start focusing on your personal development journey right now, understanding the mind and how it functions. And you can start by going to my Neo Oneness Subliminals YouTube channel. Subscribe there. I give a lot of information about the mind there, and also you can go ahead and get a consultation with me, and you can utilize my subliminals to help you strengthen your mind also, and to help you even understand more about the mind, because it is our mind that we have to influence, our subconscious mind to influence, so that we can install the information that we have been learning, studying consciously. Because if a person can consciously be studying something, but if they don't actually install it, it is only when we install the information within our subconscious mind that we fully understand it. That's what I'll say. So that's how it is with the cheating. Then you have the homosexual propaganda. What other dysfunctional imagery do they show consistently? They show a lot of arguments on TV, and especially these reality shows. The biggest thing is I want to say is throughout the media, they rarely ever show functional relationships and how to deal with dysfunction within a relationship. And that's within the family also. So they'll show more of a dysfunctional family, just like this family. What's that show called? There's a show called with that Hispanic female, and then you got the Ted Bundy dude. Crap, it's at the tip of my tongue. And then they got like a gay couple in it, and then they have the Hispanic little boy. You know what I'm talking. Modern Family. And they call it, and you got to pay attention to these names too. These titles that they use is another subliminal too. They had this dysfunctional family, Modern Family, and they titled it Modern Family to give you a subliminal message that this is a modern family and how it should function. When in actuality, that TV show is a terrible TV show for people, especially young people, to actually watch, because it's a subliminal. It creates dysfunction within your subconscious mind, and then you'll believe that is a proper way and okay to be within your family. But no, it's too much dysfunction on that show. And for a undeveloped mind, especially a young child, that is a TV show that they should not watch. And if you do watch it, then you have to make sure that you have a strong, mature mind so that you know that that's not the way to be, and you can perceive all of the do's and don'ts within that TV show. So I want to say that is one of the top TV shows that is a dysfunctional TV show to watch. Definitely. Then you have the show Friends, which is a highly popular show, but me watching the first two shows of last year for study references, and years later, now that I have the mature mindset and the relationship mindset, just those two episodes alone, I've noticed all of the dysfunction within it, and I can see now why a lot of people do not have the proper behavior within their friendships and their committed relationships, because they've been watching these dysfunctional TV shows and movies and listening to these dysfunctional songs that's creating dysfunction within their relationships. So you really have to understand the power of the media and how it's creating the dysfunction within your behaviors. So then now going into the single motherhood, the causes of single motherhood, nowadays more than ever, I would say at least within the past 10 years or so, we have consistently been seeing imagery of single motherhood. If you look back to the TV shows back in the 60s, the 70s, and even the 80s, you would consistently see a woman in a marriage, if not a marriage, at least a strong relationship with a man first and foremost, which that is the natural way of being. It's been like that for years, even back then in cave times of survival. Even in the early civilizations, it's always been like that. That's first and foremost. But the second thing is when a woman has a child in those TV shows and movies, it is when she is married and in a strong, stable relationship with a man. And it was a consistent imagery. Nowadays, you'll see couples in a dysfunctional relationship that then leaves a woman to be a single mother. Nowadays, you see imagery of a woman who falls in love with the man, and they're in a relationship of some sort, and then she has a baby. Then the man is like, no, that's not my baby, yada yada yada, leaves her alone, leaves her to be a single mother, and now she goes through a tough life of being a single mother, and then she's stuck alone, struggling. Imagery of that nature overall, somehow, some way, the imagery is where the mother becomes a single mom. The woman becomes a single mom. Regardless of how it happens, she ends up being a single mother. And that imagery goes into the female's mind, especially if she started been watching TV and movies since she was very, very youngin'. In her early years, that is going to subliminally influence her mind to put her in situations where she will eventually become a single mother. This is why I tell people that they have to be very, very wise with what they watch on TV and in the movies and what they read, overall what they surround themselves with, until they get a hold of their mind and they develop their psychological strength to a very high level. And nowadays, especially the teenage females, they need to avoid watching these TV shows that consistently display single motherhood. Because if you're not a single mother yet, if you've been watching these shows, you are going to be a single mother, in particular if you are unconscious of your subconscious mind, and if you have not been adding positive programs, aka beliefs, to your subconscious mind that will help you prevent single motherhood. And that is the only way that you are going to prevent single motherhood, is if you first address your subconscious mind with positive beliefs that will help you be protected from single motherhood. That is the top way if you do that. And you have to reach maturity. And maturity, you do that with addressing your personal development journey and your subconscious mind. Because you can consciously say that you don't want to be a single mother, but subliminally, if you have beliefs that go against that statement, then you're going to get into situations based off of whatever is your strongest beliefs in general, and that's with everything. But right now we're talking about single motherhood. So those are the top reasons, the top causes from my experience and my analysis of single motherhood, and I'll go through them real quickly. It's lack of proper mature parenting of the child, of the individual. Mature parenting where as far as the parents fail to reach adequate level of maturity and adequate understanding, comprehension of relationships and also parenting. Back then, I can understand that there wasn't much information being provided as far as parenting and relationships. However, nowadays there are no excuse as far as why an individual lacks proper knowledge of information regarding relationships, parenting, and the mind, because we are living in the information age. And a lot of people are already on their smartphones and their laptops and their tablets consistently, so they can view YouTube videos. There's tons of YouTube videos that provide information about the mind, personal development, and relationships, including right here on my YouTube channel, Committed Relationships and Spiritual Activity. That's why you need to go ahead and click the subscribe button and the bell button to get email updates whenever I provide you new information. Yes, that is a plug. And you can view my previous videos, which I definitely recommend. You can get information there. You can start right here, and there's tons and tons of ebooks available for regarding relationships in general and the mind, the subconscious mind. You can start with my ebook titled Committed Relationships, the starting process to the process, and I'll put the link in the description, or just go to CommittedRelationships.info and you can get my ebook there. It's only $2, very, very affordable. No excuses for you not to be able to get that. And if you can't get $2 in your account to purchase that, then that is definitely shame on you. So you should probably save up the money to get that, and also the money to get a prosperity subliminal from me, so that you can increase your finances for yourself, that will allow you to be able to support yourself financially, just as an adult is supposed to be able to do anyways. So that's that. So when a person fails to reach an adequate level of maturity and information about relationships, they can't pass that information on to their children. So then if they fail to pass that maturity information on to their children, those life lessons, then their children, unless their children wakes up as I did by myself spiritually, and I took accountability for my own personal development journey, my own personal development overall, all the way up throughout my current time period now. Unless they do that, other than that, then they're less likely, especially if they live here in America, because there's so much influences that delays people's maturity and it suppresses it as much as possible. Then the individual is less likely to reach maturity themselves, and then they're more than likely going to lack the proper relationship information, and then in turn they're going more than likely to have a dysfunctional relationship. And then if it's a female, she's more than likely going to be a single mother. If it's a male, then he's more than likely going to consistently be single, jumping from relationship to relationship. And also, and that's what happens to a lot of women too. It's both men and women. They keep jumping to relationships, thinking that they're going to have a better situation if they keep jumping. But no, it is your subconscious mind that you have to address first in your personal development before you jump into a new relationship. You have to change those dysfunctional beliefs within yourself first and foremost. Change your perception of relationships, increase your relationship knowledge, your mental knowledge of the mind also. Then you change your behavior, and then you can have a much more successful relationship with other people in general, but especially a committed relationship, because you have a new perception, a new understanding, and you're able to choose the proper people to be in relationships with. But without that, you're gonna keep having dysfunctional relationships. All right. So the other one is lack of personal development as an individual, because you are the one responsible for your own personal well-being and your own mental health and physical well-being. So that's the personal development. That's all of it. Personal development includes spiritual, mental, and also physical well-being as a whole. So you are responsible for that. So you have to take accountability for that. So for me, I am here to assist you with those things with my services that I provided, as I said already. So if you continue to do that, to fail to pay attention to your personal development, then you're going to stay in your situation that you're currently in. All right, so now I want to tell you also about the body maturity versus psychological maturity. And there's a difference. A lot of people think that just because an individual looks like a mature adult physically, as far as they look like a man, they look like a female, a woman, that individual is a mature individual. Like a lot of people would say, he's a grown man because he got a beard and he got hair on his face and he's 16 years of age, or he's 18 years of age, he's 21 years of age, he's 30 years of age. A lot of people here in America absolutely have been influenced to think that just because an individual looks like an adult, that they are actually an adult. No. Throughout my understanding of maturity, adulthood, and the mind, I have come to the conclusion in the analysis that our bodies were meant to naturally grow into adulthood as far as the physical and biological aspect. But, however, just because a person looks like an adult doesn't mean that they are an adult, because our body is naturally supposed to grow into an adulthood. However, as far as psychological maturity, it is the mind that equates an individual to be an adult. And it is the mind that needs to be cultivated into maturity. It has to be developed into maturity for an individual to be considered an adult and to have the behavior of an adult. This is why largely you see a lot of people who are of the adult age in appearance, as far as physically, they behave, but then they behave like a child, like a teenager. And that is because they lack the adequate psychological maturity that is necessary to be considered an adult. And this has been going on for many, many years. Like I said, our society here in America in particular it has so many mechanisms that suppresses people's maturity level. So that's why you really have to understand maturity for yourself. You have to reach an adequate level of maturity, and then you'll definitely be able to perceive which individuals have reached an adequate level of maturity versus the one who have not. That way you can choose the correct individuals to enter relationships with. So that's the difference. So just because an individual has their own car, has a job, has a career, has social status, and has money does not equate them to be mature adult, an adequately mature adult. Like I said, those things are only aspects of adulthood. Get it in your mind to understand that adulthood, a mature adult, everything starts within the mind. So I'm gonna go ahead and move forward now. Let's go ahead, and if you have any more causes of single motherhood that you know that are facts, or at least a theory for you, then go ahead and write that in the comment section and share it with other people. And I don't know, I think that's fair enough right now. And then I'm gonna go ahead and give some solutions in some other videos, but I don't want to keep going on. I already spent enough information, gave enough information for right now. I think now is a good time to go ahead and close it out. I was considering going on for an hour, in which I don't even know how long it has been this far, so I'm gonna go close it out right there. I gave good enough information, so if you have any other questions, comments, and concerns, go ahead and share them in the comment section. Definitely comment on this information in general on this video. And as far as relationship information, if you want to discuss things relationship wise in private, then email me at CommittedRelationships@gmail.com, or you can go to my CommittedRelationships.info. That's CommittedRelationships.info, and you can go there. That's my website, and you can fill out the contact form if you wanted to do that, also to get in contact with me. And that email in particular is for relationship information, where we're discussing information, relationship matters. If you have personal development matters and also the subconscious mind and consultations regarding that and subliminals, then you do that. You send me an email at neo-oneness-subliminals@gmail.com, or you can go to transformationsubliminals.com and you can contact me there. And definitely check out that website anyways. That is my website. You can check that out. You can purchase my standard subliminals that I already have there, where you can purchase it and you can download it immediately, or you can go ahead and request a custom subliminal video or audio to help transform any aspect of your mind that will then transform any aspect of your life and of yourself, to be able to get whatever it is you want to obtain, whether it be a new characteristics, new mindset overall, anything that you can think of. And also I have information there about the subconscious mind. Definitely, if you want more information about relationships, this is definitely the YouTube channel you want to click and subscribe to. So definitely do that if you have not already. Thank you very much. Like, comment, share, subscribe, and until next time.